do this for my sister, my wife and my kids, cause they part of the team. I do this for all the naysayers and haters who made me one of the greatest. I know it kills you inside, that's why I do this for you. I do this for my father, who I've only seen from time to time in my dreams. I do this for you. I do this for my mother, who's finally clean, no longer a fan. I do this for you. I do this for my sister, my wife and my kids, cause they part of the team. I do this for all the naysayers and haters who made me one of the greatest. I know it kills you inside, that's why I do this for you.
I do this for the kids who sit a bit outside the mix, who maybe cope through humor just to fit in for a bit, who never let the world know when depression's setting in. To all of those who know you, that impression don't exist, and it ain't counterfeit, it's just a way to counter it. I'm living things I dreamed about, I still encounter it. It ain't something that a cigarette or alcohol can fix, but all because of it, I flipped it quick, went on to write some hits. This a success, off another breath. This the first step in searching to be nothing less than be the best in what you do to prove their strength in being you. Learn so much in chasing dreams that I never would in school. Depends on where your passion lie, just know passion never lie. Life presents distractions, but your actions have to fortify the things that you believe in. Have to scream it like a battle cry, and leave the ones who didn't looking stupid while they're asking why. Couldn't lie, I really do this for the ones I love, those who treat the music as a vice and lyrics like a drug, those who need advice on how to lift their spirit high enough to break out of the box they make up lives they know aren't good enough. Just because it's how it is don't mean it's how it has to be. This is what the uninspired testifiers fail to see. Jealousy results from being that which others fail to be, and if it means you're not with me, that honestly sounds fair to me.
I do this for my father, who I've only seen from time to time in my dreams. I do this for you. I do this for my mother, who's finally clean, no longer a fan. I do this for you. I do this for my sister, my wife and my kids, cause they part of the team. I do this for all the naysayers and haters who made me one of the greatest. I know it kills you inside, that's why I do this for you.
Do this for my mother, she'll be working for the summer. Do this for my father, cause these days I often wonder what my life would have been like if I was not adopted. To grow up in a home where I was treated like a problem. I don't know, it's just a guess. Your guess probably good as mine. Lucky that I grew up in a home that wanted me to shine. Lucky that I grew up around some mountains we were taught to climb. Without that inspiration, I don't think that this would be my life. Do this for my friends who've scattered all across the country now. I'm out in Sweden walking back through life so I can write it down. Make a living off the sound, so crazy to say out loud. I'm the biggest thing since Travis Rice to come up out the town. Sorry, gotta stunt a little. Used to have my dreams belittled, but it's all a part of it. I know people's minds are fickle, lines between reality and dreams I blur like faded nights. Come up been so good for me, I wish that I could make it twice.
I do this for my father, who I've only seen from time to time in my dreams. I do this for you. I do this for my mother, who's finally clean, no longer a fan. I do this for you. I do this for my sister, my wife and my kids, cause they part of the team. I do this for all the naysayers and haters who made me one of the greatest. I know it kills you inside, that's why I do this for you.
Hey, what's up, y'all? Happy Monday. Shout out to everybody. Thank you for being here. I apologize. My mic cut out just as I was about to start. Thank you guys for being here. Shout out to every MVP in the chat. Shout out to all the new people who are here. Anybody watching the show. We got a bunch of people. Listen, if you're on TikTok and you're watching me, you can't see the graphics on the screen. I won't answer your questions. I get paid to live stream on YouTube, not TikTok. Thank you for asking. What's my MOS? I am a 17 Charlie in the Army. 17 Charlie, 5 Mike, 8 Romeo, Yankee. That's my 9-digit MOS. 5 being my level, Master Sergeant, First Sergeant. Mike meaning I've been a First Sergeant over a year, done it for 3 years. 8 Romeo meaning I'm a qualified instructor. And Yankee is the default language code. Never took a DLI, so there you go. Anyways, enough of that Army stuff. Let's talk normal. Let's talk sports. You guys know the deal. It is Monday, and on Mondays I talk ACC, Independent Conference, and Conference USA. Okay? I want to warn you now, a lot of the teams that we're going to talk about today are MVP data for the week. It's just the reality of the situation, me giving locks, so you might miss some. I want to say we got it off to an early start. Shout out to Jonathan Scott. Just sent in a $10 super chat with a cookie or a balloon or something. I appreciate you, brother. You beat everybody to the jump there. Jonathan Scott, congratulations. Shout out to you. Let's go up. I will get to the chat after I finish all my updates for today. Let's get started so we can start talking about it and we can talk football. First thing I want to touch on, Chase Claypool is pretty much done. He's done for the year as far as I'm concerned. They don't want him. The Bears told him, sit down, stay home. They did not tell Chase Claypool to stay home. He made the choice to stay home. That's enough. That's enough. You want to stay home and not travel with the team. You don't block when you're not getting the ball. This is some prima donna shit. You're not good enough to play like this, bro. You're not good enough to give this effort or lack thereof. Chase Claypool will not be an NFL star by any means, just so we're clear. That's done. Hey, speaking of done for the season, Cade McNamara, likely done for the season due to an elbow injury. Going to be done. I'm sorry, it says appears to be a serious leg injury. I thought it was elbow. Am I tripping? Elbow? Or I got Riley Leonard in there? Let me check Riley Leonard. Ankle sprain. Who's the elbow? I apologize. I read too much. I memorize too much. Doesn't matter. Cade McNamara is out, gone. So if you're checking the spread and you're curious about Iowa, this is why they're only a 1.5-point favorite over Purdue. I still don't know how Purdue scores, but maybe they do. I know Iowa's not scoring. Cade McNamara is not that great. The new starting quarterback for Iowa will be Deacon Hill, the transfer from – is it Deacon Hill, the transfer from Wisconsin? Could be. That'll be cool. But Cade McNamara, maybe it says it in this story. Who's going to be the starter? Da-da-da-da-da. Where's it at, buddy? Deacon Hill, there it is. Deacon Hill, he's a Wisconsin transfer. Good quarterback. See if he's ready to do some things. Iowa's offense is atrocious. Now, Riley Leonard out multiple weeks with a high ankle sprain. They don't play this week, but when they come back, he's not ready to go. Okay? Now, the person that's going to be filling in for him, redshirt freshman, I believe. They don't have that in the story. Of course they don't. These guys don't know. These guys write stories and don't know anything. I'm remembering the kid. He's from New York. I don't remember. It's like the fourth. Henry Bellin the fourth or something like that. 6'3", 210-pound kid who I've never really seen. Like when I watch tape of people who play in New York, I just think, oh, these schools aren't very good. When you watch the tape, you'll see a guy dominate the state of New York, and it's just the level of competition is atrocious. But we'll see what happens. Duke will not be the same team without Riley Leonard. Remember, he's their leading rusher as well. And when you lose an NFL-caliber quarterback like that, you won't be the same. Sorry I'm sipping on flavored water tonight. Just got to keep my throat kind of the opposite of dry. I don't want to even say the M word. It is what it is. MJ Morris replacing Brennan Armstrong. I posted a video about this telling you guys I am right. I did so many live streams telling you guys how good MJ Morris is and why I think he should be starting. If you haven't been watching the live streams all summer, I've been doing this all summer, screaming it at the top of my lungs, MJ Morris, MJ Morris, MJ Morris. Best starting quarterback not in the college. I told you guys it was MJ Morris. Somebody asked me the other day, who's going to be the breakout quarterback? I said MJ Morris. Who needs to hit the portal and go start somewhere else? MJ Morris. First name out of my mouth every time, MJ Morris. Congratulations. He's now the starting quarterback for NC State. It's pretty awesome. I'm excited for him. Problem, I don't think he's going to increase their win total by any means because the whole offense was going through Armstrong to begin with. MJ Morris is just a better player. I just like him, but that's about where it stops, just so we're clear. Hey, don't give me shit about these ads on the side here. I have no control over what's going up over here. Trust. I just saw a bunch of ads for Ragu spaghetti sauce because I've been arguing about Ragu spaghetti sauce. So maybe I was talking about women's attire. I don't know. Maybe it's the outfit of the day. Somebody gave me shit about it in the chat. Nonetheless, let's talk about the matchups. Here we go. Independence first. Boston College at Army. This looks like an intriguing matchup. Army is actually a little better than we think, and Boston College appears to be better on certain days. Almost, some Saturdays. I don't know. Boston College is good some weeks and bad the others. That's a sign of piss-poor coaching, not being prepared for each game and each week and every concept. I don't like Hafley as a coach. I think he should be on the hot seat and fired. Boston College, your best performance this entire season was a loss to Florida State, and that's it. If your best performance is a loss, I can't get down with you. On the flip side, Army, I watched them get beat by ULM to start the season. How embarrassing. So I don't know who's winning this game. I'd imagine Boston College has the better athletes and better players. Doesn't mean they're winning the game. Good luck going to West Point and flexing on them. We'll see. Toledo and UMass, I believe this game is, double check. Now, this is MVP data. I will not be talking about this game. Good luck to both teams. UConn and Rice, you guys already know the deal. The wheels have fallen off at UConn. They haven't won a game all year. They're 0-5 at this point, and they're missing their running back. They're missing their quarterback for the season, their backup running back. They're missing a lot of depth and a lot of things going right or wrong. They had this game this past weekend against Utah State, and they still lost it in a shootout, which was crazy. But Rice can score all day. JT Daniels is him. He's putting up a ton of points. I'd say JT Daniels throws for 400 yards in this game. That's all I'm saying. Notre Dame, Louisville, that's MVP data. We'll not talk about it. Shout out to the MVPs. They already know how I feel about that game. Next, we have Conference USA matchups. Both matchups to start the week are going to be on Wednesday. That's great. Everybody's going to watch it. But when you're the only two games that day, I give my take on these games to the MVP. So the MVP's got both of these games already. And then Thursday, I already gave a take on Western Kentucky La Tech to the MVPs. Let me double check that. That is correct. So all that's left is Sam Houston and Liberty. Let's talk about it, because that is not an MVP game. The reason it's not an MVP game is because I'm done recommending anyone bet on or against Sam Houston. They're impossible to read. Some days their defense is amazing. Some days you turn it on and they look like utter trash. One thing we know, their offense is gross. Somehow they scored 28 points against Jacksonville State, which really surprised me and everybody. They're not doing that to Liberty, man. Liberty's a great team. Liberty is one of group of five teams that's still undefeated. Right? Liberty's undefeated. Who's the other? There's four more. Marshall, Air Force, Fresno State, and JMU. Think about that for a second. Liberty, Marshall, Fresno State, Air Force, and JMU. Stud teams. Liberty's not losing here. They're going to win this game handedly. I believe in Liberty. I don't know the over-under. Don't know about the spread. I don't know. But I just like Liberty winning that game, just so we're clear. As the game approaches on Wednesday, I'll give you guys the spread and give you a freebie to the TikTokers. I'll do a freebie. Out of all these four games, Thursday, I'll be doing a free matchup on TikTok. Give them the free lock they've all been begging for. It'll be a B-level lock. It's not like the other three games, but we'll see what happens. And then we get to the ACC. Already talked about Boston College and Army. William and Mary going to Virginia. Virginia better win this game handedly. I don't want to see any issues here. I'm going to double-check William and Mary before the game starts and let you know if there's any upset potential here. This line doesn't show up on FanDuel until the morning of. Most FCS opponents and teams don't show up for spreads until Saturday morning, so keep an eye out for it. We'll see what it is and whether or not they can cover the spread. It'd be pretty interesting. Marshall and NC State. I already told you, Marshall's undefeated. But of all the group of five teams undefeated, Marshall is the least impressive, I'll say. I like what they're doing. Obviously, get the ball to Rasheen Ali. Get the ball to Rasheen Ali all day. That's a 1,400-yard rusher, 23 touchdowns in 2021. This year, he's playing great, right? But if I go up here, let me do this. Let me go in here and let me go to stats. And if we go to conferences and we look at Conference USA, is it Conference USA? What am I thinking of? There's Sunbelt. Rasheen Ali, 475 yards rushing at this point. Fifth in the conference, but talent-wise, I think he's better than all these guys. Even better than Mahdi, and I love Mahdi. I love Ishmael Mahdi, but he's better than him talent-wise. We're having tryouts tomorrow. Give me Rasheen Ali. But look at Marshall, man. They got statistical leaders everywhere you're looking in this conference. Just everywhere. Love what Marshall's doing. Especially, they even have decent quarterback play. For as much as they hand off the ball, Cam Francis, he's not bad. Not bad. 71% completion percentage. Very careful with the ball. But 4 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. Leaves a lot to be desired, especially when you see the true freshman right below. I already made a video about Jalen Rayner. This is for another day. We're going to talk about Sunbelt Thursday. Jalen Rayner, man, back-to-back weeks, lit up the scoreboard again. Lit it up again, guys. 10 touchdowns, 1 interception. Pay attention. Jalen Rayner is so good. Watch his high school tape. So impressed. Don't know how he slipped through the cracks and went to Arkansas State. This was a 0-star kid. He's so amazing. Give him his props. Give him his credit. It is what it is. But, yeah, Marshall against NC State. MJ Morris at home. That defense of NC State is very strong against the run. They're very competitive this week against, was it Louisville? But, who's winning that game? That's anybody's guess. We'll figure it out as the week goes on. I got to figure out the impact that MJ Morris has. But it's clear Marshall is undefeated, and their game for that game's going to be tough. Virginia Tech at Florida State. Virginia Tech found some offense. Kyron Drones, a 100-yard rusher, and Bishal Tutton. They're probably really excited, but they're going into Florida State, and it's on the road. This doesn't look good for Virginia Tech. Doesn't look good for Virginia Tech. I hope they play well. And Virginia Tech, I'm sorry, I keep saying Virginia Tech. I want to talk about Florida State for a second here. Florida State, if they don't win this game by 30, we got to really think about Florida State and what they are. Because Florida State's most impressive win is just another win. It's against LSU, who's a 2-loss team and got lucky to beat Arkansas. Like, it's not as big as you think it was. It's not as impressive as you think it was. It really isn't. Syracuse at North Carolina. Syracuse beat a lot of nobodies early. Then they showed up to Clemson and they weren't even in the game. I think they put up 14, and one of those touchdowns was in the fourth quarter. Syracuse beat a lot of bad teams early, and now they're at North Carolina. I feel like North Carolina is a better team. North Carolina is probably going to handle them. And North Carolina can handle people on the defensive front. North Carolina's defensive line is so dominant. Just something to think about. And some days they go to overtime with, App State. But still, Syracuse, I just think that they're going to go on the road and lose this game. Wake Forest and Clemson. That is MVP data. Won't talk about it. Notre Dame, Louisville, MVP data. Won't talk about it. Georgia Tech, Miami. I think some people will be surprised. I think Georgia Tech, I know they just lost to Bowling Green. It was a trap game. It was a trap game. They were more focused on Miami. They had to be. And Georgia Tech can score. Haynes King is not bad, but Georgia Tech's entire offense is throwing the ball, and Miami's defense, their secondary is the best in the country. Their secondary is the best in the country. So Miami has the best defensive backs I've seen all season, and I look around everywhere. I see every team, right? I watch every game. I just feel like Miami is going to prove that they can really get this done. Miami should win by 20. Hopefully. We'll see. But I think Georgia Tech has the ability to move the ball and get yards. We'll see if they get touchdowns. We'll see if they complete their drives. But they can get yards. Look for little Jamal Haynes, the wide receiver turned running back. Used to like watching him play at he was a Grayson guy. And now he's doing his thing. So shout out to him. But yeah, that's the ACC this week. A lot of MVP data being covered. I apologize. If you're an MVP, go watch the film. I put it up this morning. Remember, MVPs, I put up the final draft of all my takes on a live stream, not a video, a live stream Saturday morning. Please be there for the MVP-only live stream. It's important you're there. Jalen, shout out to you going to the chat now. Remember, hey, TikTok, if you want to talk, I don't see anything over here. Click on the link. Join us over at YouTube. You can be in the live stream and ask me any question you want. Jalen, shout out to you for joining the Rico Minions. Thank you. You're a minion. Congratulations. Asinine. Welcome to the MVP package. Hope you watched the video from this morning. Denim Reagans, watch the video. Learn everything you can. Welcome to being an MVP. Boss Omar, good day, sir. Lewis Henton, what up? Roll Tide Roll. Ethan Kotnick, you're an MVP. Congratulations. Steve, let them all know. ACC Conference USA questions only. By the way, ricoknows.org is our website. ricoknows.org. Go there. You go get all the merch you want. Get a nice shirt that says, your friends don't know, but Rico knows. Want to see a dead body? Yeah, ricoknows.org. Dat, what's up? Dat Win. You related to Dat Win? Great linebacker, Texas A&M. What up, Dat? Congratulations. You're an MVP. Andres is an MVP already. No, I know him well. Says, what up, Rico? Hope you had a great weekend. I had a very good weekend. Kim and I went to a movie, went and saw an IMAX movie. I want you guys to know, they charged us $80. 80, not 18, 80 to go watch an IMAX movie. We paid $80 for a movie. That included popcorn, a pack of chocolate-covered almonds, and 2 large drinks. Oh, and nachos. But still, it was $80. I thought I was going to an amusement park. I was looking around like, where's the roller coasters, bro? 80? Felt that shit, bro. It was too loud. Dom says, Rico, do you think Marshall wins this week against NC State? Marshall plus 6.5 looks really good. Dom, it looks really good. It looks believable. 6.5 is a lot of points to beat Marshall by. Marshall's defense gives up a lot of points in a lot of plays. But I like Marshall's team, man. I like them. I don't know if they're beating NC State. Off rip, it just sounds like an intriguing game. I couldn't go there, especially when you see MJ Morris getting the start. I stay away from a guy's first start if I think he's going to be good, right? I would go ahead and say attack it if you think the backup quarterback's bad, but this is an upgrade. Coaching staff's going to this kid knowing it's an upgrade. Fans know it's an upgrade. It's encouraging. It's exciting. He's been in the program a long time. He's a leader amongst men, just so we're clear. Also, thoughts on Western Kentucky versus La Tech. Austin Reed is Himothy. While I don't agree with your statement, or don't disagree with your statement, Dom, that's MVP data. I will not share that in public. Go watch the MVP live stream or video. It's also sad that Rasheen Ali and the quarterback Marshall don't get enough love. There you go. I give them love all day. They are the type of people I love. If you watch the show, you know all about Rasheen Ali getting love from me. And I'm everybody. Don't worry about anybody else. You said it's sad that Rasheen Ali don't get enough love. They get enough love from me. Don't watch anybody else. Stop watching ESPN. Stop watching other podcasts. This is all you need to consume. Brad Mickelson, welcome to the MVP package, brother. James Kopcha, welcome to MVP package. Rico, my man, what is up? Can't wait to hear your thoughts on the ACC this week. Shout out to you, Tactical Orange. Good to see you again. Just gave you my thoughts, and it'll keep evolving throughout the week. How much better will NC State's offense get throughout the season with Morris? Well, I hope it gets a lot better. I think NC State could be dangerous next year with the impressive wide receiver group they're bringing in next year from the 2023 class. Hudson, they got a lot of good recruits. As I study, I watch tape on all their guys. I rotate every conference. When I get to NC State, I've already assessed and looked at their quarterbacks. I've already looked at their skill players, some of their linebackers. I've looked at it all. I like them. I think it's a good team. The only thing I don't like is you're trying to implement the old offense that Brennan Armstrong likes and gets used. Nah, dude, get rid of it. I don't want to hear about it. Don't come in here with that Virginia shit. Virginia didn't win anything with that offense, even though they had Jelani Woods and Dontavius Wicks and Billy Kemp IV, all those good players. But NC State doesn't have that, right? You got to utilize what you have. Change your offense up a little bit. What up, big dog? What up, Kavion? Appreciate you, man. I know you're not a big NFL guy, Rico, but what are your thoughts on Mac Jones and his shitty performance yesterday? My thoughts are no quarterbacks are really succeeding against the Cowboys. The Cowboys' defense is dominant. Mac Jones did the best he could. That's all there is to it. There's not much else to it. I mean, how do we feel about Daniel Jones getting shut out 40-0? Didn't that happen? So what's Mac's fault? I don't know. Did throw 2 picks, though, and a pick 6. That's bad. Update on Riley Leonard. He's out for a couple weeks. He will not be available the next time they see the field. And I told you it's going to be the 4th. Berlin the 4th. Go look at him. Or not Berlin, Bellin. Bellin the 4th. Hey, Rico, how do you think Virginia Tech will do the rest of the season aside from getting smashed by Florida State next week? Do you think they will make a bowl game? That's a bit much. Let me go see something real quick. Schedule. Virginia Tech's playing who this week? Florida State. Let's open them in a new tab. Virginia Tech has 2 wins. They got potential to get 3, 4, 5. Yeah, to get a bowl game, they'd have to beat Louisville, NC State, Syracuse, or Florida State. Are you tripping, bro? They're not going to a bowl game. And they can blame themselves for not winning these 3 other games right here. They were competitive, and that's the other thing you have to notice. They've put up at least a couple touchdowns in every game. It's good. They're not getting shut down completely. It doesn't matter who they're playing against, but these were all very winnable games. All of them, all 5, very winnable. So we'll see what they can put together. Kyron Drones is in now. If they don't get too injured against Florida State, they should be able to beat Wake Forest. It's that Syracuse game they got to try to win. Syracuse, because there's 2. 3, 4, 5, 6. Yep, they got to beat Syracuse if they want to go to a bowl game. Beat Syracuse, and don't lose any of the games you're supposed to win. Thanks for the question. Do you think Florida State is overrated? I've seen some journalists have them at number 1. Well, Maddie, I think I have them at 6. When you look at Florida State as a whole, they have a great team. They're talented. They're dominant. I can't imagine anyone being, too worried about it. But you can't say they're overrated when they beat Clemson and LSU. Those teams have losses because of Florida State. Don't get it twisted. Those teams could have a lot of wins if they didn't play Florida State. That's what I'm saying. They're impressive. They just have to keep winning. But the game against Duke is going to tell me all I need to know about Florida State. I'm excited for that game against Duke. That's the one. We'll know. We'll know Miami, Duke, Florida. They're going to win. They got to win at least 2 of those. 2 out of those 3 to be believers out of me. If you're a real contender, you got to win 2 out of the 3. You can't have more than 1 loss. So we'll see. We'll know. Thank you for the question. What up, Rico? What up, Tom Rose? Chat just jumped on me. I'll catch back up with you guys in a second. Coach, I had a good Saturday. Lost a couple of games in the morning, but the night games, yes, sir. Hey, Blunts on Paper Podcast. Shout out to DJ, one of my former players. Yeah, DJ, man, it's pretty impressive, dude. We had a bad middle of the day. We had a good morning. We went 6-1 in the morning. Middle of the day was pretty bad, pretty bloody. And then in the night, we finished so strong. And for those of you who stuck with it and didn't give up on the channel, thank you. That's what matters. MVPs, we're well over 1,000 MVPs now. But I want to tell you, Monday morning, today, wake up, 40 cancellations. The 40 people who quit after choosing the wrong games, they have the wrong mindset. You don't want to be near them when they're gambling. Those are people who want to blind tail things and think that it's magic. You know what else they're doing? They're taking fat-burning pills and not working out. You can't just sit there and blind tail takes without doing any research data or understanding where you're putting your money. It's a waste of money. I'd be curious if people just go out there and buy stocks without learning about the companies and being upset when they find out the company's failing for a week. And then they sell and they leave and they just walk away mad. So it doesn't matter to me. All I know is if you stick with it, you'll be on the winning end like everybody else. So many people hit big this weekend on certain parlays and certain decisions because they put certain plays together. You got to pick the right ones. If you pick the wrong ones, you're going to miss. I already told you, we miss on 32% of them. We're sitting at 68%. 32% are going to be misses. Don't pick the 32%. You'll be fine. It's a reality situation, right? All women are cheaters, except for the one you marry that doesn't cheat. Pick the right one. Oh, what's that? You have to learn more about them before you marry them? Oh, you can't put a ring on it? You can't just go pick one and marry it just based on looks and metrics? But you saw a dating app. You read the chart. She had a really high rating. Why didn't you just go with that one? Oh, you need to learn more about her. Oh, you make sure it's the right fit for you. How dare you? Oh, too bad for Cade. Everybody bet the over for Iowa from on. There you go. Maybe they'll improve. Good afternoon, Rico. Just watched the top 25 video on TikTok. Wyoming, a top group of 5 team, going to be a battle for Fresno this week. Yeah, I believe so, Colton Ice. I really like what Wyoming's doing. Their quarterback play isn't elite, but the team itself is pretty damn good. But don't get it twisted, man. Fresno State, whew, they're on some crazy win streak right now. They won 10 games last year, and they're 5-0 right now. It's real. Joey Labus is better than Deacon Hill. There you go. He played last year. I think it's Labus. Isn't it Labus? There's an E in there. There got to be an E in there. Maybe I'm wrong. Any transfers on Virginia's team you like? Kamari Parker. Any transfers on Virginia's team that I like? Virginia's team. Give me a second here. Obviously, I like their freshman quarterback, Condrea, but let me do you a solid. Oh, Washington, the receiver, Malik Washington, the transfer from Northwestern. Yeah, Malik Washington, leading receiver. Kobe Pace, transfer from Clemson. He's good. I like the two of them. Tony Muskett's fine, but he's obviously not very good. Tony Muskett's been playing terrible, not getting it done. But I like Washington. I like Pace. Let me see. Only ones that really stick out to me. Nobody on defense. I'm looking for names that I recognize. I know every transfer in America, guys, just by looking at their name. Every transfer in America. And if you transfer within the last 2 years, I know who you are. Because you're still on a roster. So you didn't just have to transfer this offseason. You could have transferred last offseason. Before I was on TikTok, I still studied the whole portal. So I've been doing this for a long time. But, yeah, that's what I like on Virginia. Give me Malik Washington and Kobe Pace. Ready for the Hills to show out this weekend. There you go. Shout out to you, the Tar Heels. Middle 10, under 13.5 first half score. Yeah, man. Alicia Collins, thank you for the input. That's an MVP level play. I won't be talking about it. Apologize. Liberty and James Madison, 2 best teams of Virginia. I would have to say yes, Steve. If they had to play Virginia Tech and Virginia, James Madison and Liberty would be favorited, and they are better teams, better coach teams as well. Shout out to both of them, without a doubt. Are there any standouts on UNC's defense? Yeah, Elijah Huzzy, Michael Hilliam. Elijah Huzzy, the transfer from East Tennessee State, ETSU. He's just so good. Former high school quarterback from Heard County here in Georgia. Former 3-star kid. Won a state title. Wasn't anything special coming out of high school. Just another athlete that just kind of played. I swear to you, wasn't anything special. And then he goes to East Tennessee, late bloomer. Develops physically, gets faster. Still plays amazing. And then he's doing everything he can. I think he ran back a punt for a touchdown. Had 2 interceptions just last week, like the last time they played. UNC's defense, last time they were on the field, Elijah Huzzy was everything. So he stands out to me immensely. He's a man amongst boys. That guy's great. He was an FCS All-American last year. Had the most passes deflected in the FCS. Really, really good player. Hey, what's up, Rico? I want to let you know that you inspired me to start my own sports content TikTok page. Already got 1,000 views on my 3rd video. Shout out to you, Cash. Just remember, man, when I started, getting views was never the goal, right? I knew what I was saying was great and nobody was watching. Perfect your content. Keep pumping out content. I pumped out 10 videos a day on average. 10 videos a day for a year. A year before anybody started watching my stuff. That's right. I'm telling you how many videos I did. At least 3 a day for sure. Because I know I was well over 1,000 way before a year. And I've posted over 3,000 videos on TikTok before I ever made a dime. Okay? And now, consistently, I make thousands upon thousands of dollars. And it's all started with the self-belief that one day somebody's going to watch my videos. And when you guys ask me, like, why does Rico always show his receipts? Why does he always stitch his own videos? It's because I know no one watched it the first time I said it. And I was right. And I was talking to myself in a vacuum and nobody was listening. And here we are. Now I can get 100,000 views and I don't even care. I had a video go for 400,000 views yesterday. I didn't even notice. It's an amazing feeling. You'll get there. I remember one guy early on in my sports, content creation as a sports journalist, and this is for you, Cash. Listen to this. I gave a take, and a guy wrote to me and said, "Why do you matter? What are your accolades?" And I remember I wrote back to him and said, "I get 100,000 views a week. That's my accolades. I get 100,000 views a week. People listen when I talk." Dude, that's so nothing. That's so nothing. I can tell you that when I started on YouTube back in June, I was excited to make $30 a day. $30 a day was a big deal to me because I thought for 30 days, if I make $30, that's $900 a month, and that can cover my food. That was my mindset. I want to make $30 a day. So I just stuck with it. I started live streaming. I got enough viewers. I was able to monetize the channel. And my first month was like nothing. It was very little. And I was frustrated. And I was like, why does everybody watch me on TikTok and not YouTube? What am I going to do? And I just kept striving. And let me just tell you, man, $900 a day is nothing to me. I want you to think about that. $900 a day now is nothing to me. It's just, you got to believe in yourself. So I'm glad you're motivated. I'm glad I inspired you to do it. Just keep being great. Don't let anybody hold you back. But remember, the content is more important. I turn on TikTok and I watch people on lives begging for gifts, doing battles, people dancing on videos for shit clicks and all this stuff. Like, we don't ever have to resort to that. If your content is good If your delivery's on point, I don't do any fancy editing. I don't use CapCut. I don't use captions and boom, bang, pow. No colors. None of this shit. I just talk. I don't even have a co-host. No gimmick to it. Just talk. Work on your content. It will matter in the end. Not everybody can do it though. I just want to give that recommendation to everyone. Not everybody will succeed being a content creator. What do they say? Only 1% of content creators can do it for a living. Most people, it's just a hobby. It's just something you do for fun. You're not going to make a profit off of it. And the margins are so little. Like, you could see somebody who kind of sounds like me, talks like me, does everything that I do, and they're not going to be as successful. It's all about mass appeal and delivery. But you'll learn over time, man. Make a ton of content and learn from your mistakes. I make videos all the time I think are going to blow. I think they're going to get 1 million views. And they never do. They never do. And then the video I don't give a shit about and I make it goes for over 1 million. True story. Happened just last week. Made a video, did not care about it at all. Woke up the next day and said, oh my God, this will be my first video that goes over 1 million. Insane. You don't know what the people are going to like till you make it. Do you consider betting split percentages, i.e. fade the public data, at all when considering picks? Michael Myers, I do not give a shit where the money is. None of that matters to me whatsoever. I don't even look at the public data for bets. I'm not a gambler. I don't worry about how the public is betting. I only assess the talent on the field and the coaching decisions being made. I only assess scheme versus scheme, format versus format, this front versus this front, these skill players versus these skill players. That's what I assess. I do not give a shit about where people are putting their money. It has no bearing on me because some people know what they're doing, some people don't. Don't care. People will be like, Rico, why did the line move? Don't give a shit why it moved. The players, unless the players changed, I don't care how much money's being put on public or this team. There, I know there's a details button you can hit on FanDuel, right? You go over here on FanDuel when you're looking at it. Instead of saying more wages, you can hit stats right here, and it'll show you all this. Guys, I don't even know how to read this. I don't even know what this means. I don't even care. These spreads against the stat, against the line, all this stuff means nothing because every week is a different matchup. Every week is a different matchup between the teams. This is why I'm more successful than Vegas. This is why I'm more successful than all the other cappers and all that other shit. Is because I sit here and just analyze the players on this team versus the players on this team. I don't give a fuck about the money. Don't let it influence me in any way. Now, you as gamblers, do what you got to do. Apply whatever data you want. Not $1 million anymore. Shout out to you, Robert Miller. Congratulations, not $1 million anymore. Hey, Rico, what's your thoughts on Shiloh Sanders? I like him more than the other family members. Okay. If you like him more than other family members, you're comparing Shiloh to other family members, then the word you want to use is than, T-H-A-N, not T-H-E-N, okay, L-K-Z. So you use the wrong version of the word then. If you're comparing two things, T-H-A-N, if you're telling me you like him more, then the other family members went to dinner. Like you're telling me something happened next. When you say T-H-E-N, that's telling me something happened later. Just FYI. Yeah, I like Shiloh Sanders. He seems like a blue-collar kid, works hard. He's out there handling his business. It's just the personality of a defensive player versus an offensive player. I like him. They're all very likable in their own way, but Shiloh's cool as shit. What are you looking at UK and UGA? We can talk about it, I think. Let me double check. We cannot talk about it. MVP data, and it is not ACC. It's not an ACC question. Landon, you might not understand how we do this. We do conferences every night. So tonight is ACC, Conference USA, and Independence. That doesn't fit the description of UK and UGA. Thank you. I thought you don't look at incoming recruits. Kavion, I study every single class's incoming recruits. Every single one. I don't worry about verbal commitments is what I said. I know recruiting classes. I know who's coming. I don't get excited about it. I just get informed on it. I look at their tape. I learn who they are because they're going to hit the transfer portal and never play for that school. I do not give a shit about a 4 or 5 star kid verbally committing to your school. And the rules change starting next season. Starting next season, players who enroll in January can hit the transfer portal that spring and still play for another school with no penalty. Once again, high schoolers who enroll early at your school after signing a letter of intent can go to your school, do spring football with you, and if they're not in the too deep, like you promised, they're going to leave, and they're allowed to, and they'll be able to play immediately. This year, 3 players did it. Next year, I'd say at least a dozen are going to do it. So players signing out of high school will be in that school early, just like they promised and swore, for 2 years, and then hit the transfer portal 2 months later. My boy AR is getting better. You think he trash? Love the content. I don't know who your boy AR is dominating Impulse. I assume you're saying Anthony Richardson. I'm not a fan of Anthony Richardson. Trash is a very strong word. What made you get so into college versus NFL? I can't stand NFL fans. I hate how fanatical. Let me take this back. Let me rephrase. I hate how ignorant NFL fans are. At least with college fans, I could be talking to an alumni who's educated and went to school and maybe has a college degree or something. When I'm talking to NFL fans, I could be talking to a straight Neanderthal. I could be talking to somebody who didn't graduate high school. I could be talking to like the worst people alive. You ever talk to Raider fans about their team? It's ridiculous. Can't stand it. So I hate that. I also hate the players not the players. I hate the system of not playing your best players because you invested more money in a different player, right? You invested more money in a different player. It's a terrible system, but they do it all the time. They're starting Anthony Richardson over Minshew or anybody. It didn't matter. Just based on his draft position and financial investment into him, it does not matter who the best player is. I can't stand that. Just so we're clear. That's why I don't like NFL. Sorry, the chat jumped. I'll be back there in a bit. You think Liberty can exploit Sam Houston the way Jackson State did? Also, do you think Sam Houston figured it out offensively? Very interesting game. Would love your perspective. No, I don't think Sam Houston figured it out offensively. There was just some blown coverages, and they got some big plays from that game. And Liberty doesn't need to exploit Sam Houston the way Jacksonville State did. Liberty just has better players, better scheme. Shout out to Jamie Chadwell, better coach. Liberty's a good team. Liberty's legit. They got players. They're a Power 5 team. Come on, man. Hugh Freeze brought all those guys together. Shout out to AIM for becoming an MVP. Congratulations, AIM. Welcome to the team, man. Hope you catch the MVP data. Back to the chat. Also, if you haven't answered already, do you think Duke rebounds and finishes as a 3-loss team, or do you think Riley Leonard's injury will be something they can't overcome? They can't overcome that injury. They're going to need him to push the offense, but their defense is good enough to play with anybody. They're not bad. Duke's good, but yeah, 3 losses sounds realistic at this point. Bobby Bros and Cody Knox asking about Henry Boleyn. Like I said, it's hard to tell how good he is. His tape looks great from New York, but I haven't seen him do much on the field otherwise. Dating metrics, just letting you know. When Oregon's team beat Washington, do they move into top 3? They're already in my top 3. They're number 2 on my chart. What's good, Rico? Big trust. What's good, man? Top 25 question here. Why did USC and Washington move down 8 spots respectively after wins? I understand they were underwhelming, but a team like Georgia has had underwhelming wins. Yeah, that's what I was saying, Connor. It's not consistent. USC moves down, but Georgia doesn't. It's not consistent. If you're gonna move teams down after winning, then we got to do that with Georgia because they haven't looked like the number 1 they haven't looked like a top 5 team. But nobody cares. They just leave them right where they're at. Message retracted. I could have sworn I saw a message earlier. Man, I thought somebody asked about Daniel Richardson earlier. I don't see it. Oh, well. Rank the regions of the U.S. recruiting-wise, high school. Cy Underwood, I've done this many times. It's really simple. It's not even regions. It's just states. The best high school football players in America are in California. After that, it's Texas. After that, it's Florida. Then it's North Carolina. North Carolina has the 4th most NFL players come out of that state. And then it's Alabama, Georgia, Louisiana, Ohio, Pennsylvania, in that order. And if you Google that answer, make sure you scroll down a little bit because the first result is incorrect. You got to scroll down more to find the right one. That first result is out of date. Just so you know, I get a lot of Googlers. Rico, you're wrong. No, I'm not. Is Jaden Creedle in for a big game on Wednesday? If not, which players in the game do you like the most for player props? Well, that's MVP data. I would imagine Jaden Creedle's going to do just fine. He is the leading rusher for Middle Tennessee State, but I can't really go into detail on that big trust. I'm going to actually do that for the MVPs. They pay for it, they get it, but I appreciate you asking. Michael Flores says, thoughts on Washington State versus UCLA? I'm all in on Cam Ward. That's cool, Michael. That's not a ACC question or Conference USA or independent question. Thanks. Rico, for some of your games, taking spreads, I sacrifice a couple extra bucks by taking money lines instead and parlay them and still hit. Hood stay all day long, man. I have to pick against the spread for the sake of statistics and trying to prove my point that I know more than everyone. But if you're listening to the data and you push that to a money line instead, congratulations, go for it. You're going to hit every time. If I was able to call games based on money line, I'd be in the 90 percentile. I'd be over 90%. 100, I'd be over 90%. But it's too easy. Everybody started complaining when I did that at the beginning of the year. They said, Rico, only against the spread. I said, okay, fine. I'll go only against the spread, but let me go overs and unders. Rico, I win MVP. Congratulations. You the man. I enjoy the content and the knowledge is amazing. Thanks. Shout out to you, Steven Montano. I believe in your support. Thank you so much. Brent, Reality Films. I think we should start talking about the 2024 transfer portal already. What freshman, sophomore you think is going into the portal? So, Brent, Realty Films. What you need to know about the way I cover the transfer portal, and this is very clear, I do not guess at the transfer portal. I report what happens in the transfer portal. I do not, and then I assess what that is. I do not make a living trying to guess who's going to go in and when they're going to leave and all this shit. That is not the conversation. That's a lot of wasted energy. It's why I don't cover recruiting. Because recruiting is just simply talking about players who might go to this school and might enroll here and then change their mind 3 months later. Oh, he verbally here. Oh, he's doing this. I'm not going to make videos going, who's going in or not? Who do I think is going in? That's ridiculous. What a terrible premise. I will never do it. Let the people who like missing do it. I'm never going to do that. But thank you for the question. Damn, I missed the start of the show. Watching Dame Lillard press conference was so good. Rico. What's good, Rico? What's good, Bobby Albright? You can always start the show over. Put it at 1.25 playback speed, and you'll catch back up with us. It's that easy. It's that easy. Hey, Rico, are you ever going to invite other content creators onto your channels for a collab? Not at all, Zodtox. I do not need other people in here. I'm doing my own thing. I'm not into collabing. I don't like a lot of other people's content. I don't watch it. I'm busy making my own. I am doing an interview tomorrow for a gentleman who has a TV channel or a show on TV, one of these independent TV channels. More power to him. I'll be meeting up with a doctor there. I'm doing a Zoom call. I do interviews on other people's podcasts all the time. I do not bring other people on my show. Ever. And if I was to bring other people on my show, it would be the players who are in my DMs. And I have a ton of FBS level players in my DMs, FCS level players, transfer portal players, 4- and 5-star high school kids in my DMs. Like, I could talk to any one of these kids. I don't need it. I'm working on Rico Knows, the brand, and for the last year, all I ever do is me talking, and that's what I'm selling you, me. So, no, you'll never turn it on, and I don't need to interview a player for clicks. I don't need somebody else joining my chat. I don't want to help anybody else build or grow. I'm not that guy. If I focus on me and I make everything mine, well, you know, I'm at the top, bro. That's where it's at. I'm good. Toledo sold this weekend. Just think of me as a guy who does 0 features. Think of me as a solo artist who does 0 features. Shout out to Russ. Russ did no features for like 5 years. It was all Russ. If I do a concert, I don't need an opening act. I don't need no openers. I don't need to share it. You see all them bum-ass rappers? They do a concert. They're out there doing it, and then they open up. So-and-so's going to, Tone Loke's going to come do 3 songs. Then Coolio's going to, rest in peace, is going to do 2 songs. And, you know, Adina Howard's going to do 1 song. And it's just all these people. Nobody has enough songs to do their whole album. Like, nobody has enough songs to do a concert by themselves. I do. I got enough takes, enough knowledge. I got enough everything to do this all by myself for 2 hours a night. I don't have to do 1 show a week either. 2 hours a night, every night, I talk about college football, and I don't run out of shit to say. I don't need nobody else. That's real. Rico's secret sauce is consistent grind, great insight about your favorite team. Thank you so much, Steve. I appreciate you. Andy Mueller says, Rico, I know you specialize in college football, but do you do any NFL analysis? I do, Andy. I do some NFL draft coverage a lot of NFL draft coverage, and I cover all NFL teams. If you want to know what I have to say about NFL teams and draft picks, go to the NFL draft pick playlist. It's on TikTok at the top of all my videos. It's also on YouTube. There's different playlists. Find NFL draft reviews. You can see me talk about 259 draft picks. I always get a message every now and then. Somebody says, Rico, you missed on this guy. And I remind everybody, I could miss on 25 draft picks and still get 90% right. So go through it and try to find where I missed on 25 guys. Guess what you're going to find? You're going to find guys that I said weren't going to make the team and get cut. They got cut. You're going to find undrafted free agents where I said these guys are going to make teams, and they made teams because I know what I'm doing when it comes to analysis of players, even at the collegiate and NFL level. I just don't care to watch the games. On Sunday, I take the day off from work. I want to relax. I've been working hard all week, 6 days a week, 20 hours a day. I want to relax and just hang out with my girl, and that's what I do every Sunday. So I kind of just push away a little bit, probably make 4 or 5 videos max, and try not to watch too much NFL football. I ignore it to the best of my ability. I watch a lot of Group of 5 football on Sundays, though. Replays. I wish, Andy. Yeah, you guys all wish I did NFL. I don't want to do betting for NFL. Hell no. Bobby Albright, those people are toxic. Rico, I know it's not technically ACC, but does the Georgia game this weekend change how you look at spreads at all? I know more evaluate the team and more consider being on the road or different environments more. Bobby, in general, looking at teams, I don't give a shit. Like, people put a lot of value on home and away environments. You're playing 2 players, man. If I was playing you in a basketball game, I could play you on a court here, somewhere else. People could be yelling and screaming. It doesn't matter. Am I better than you or not? And I'll be right 9 out of 10 times if I just know who's better. Location can matter to some people. They can talk about environment and all this. They play really good at home. No, you don't understand. They're going to the swamp. Da, da, da. I don't care. Do you have better players or not? Just that's the gist of it. I want Rico everywhere. Calm down, bro. Pause. NFL is so hard, though. No, it's not. Nobody gives a shit. People just guess. And if you're 52%, you're considered successful. So they just guess. It's a 50-50 the whole damn time. Just guess. Rico, I think Louisville will make the ACC championship game. 3 wins versus some of the worst teams in the ACC, and a win versus Duke, Miami, and their ticket is punched. Yeah, Popo talked about it many times. It looks like they have a straight shot to the ACC title game. I have them winning 9 games this year in the preseason. Hopefully they can get it done. Where does Drake May rank among the top quarterbacks in the nation? Pretty far up there if we're talking about talent or production. Which one? Most talking heads I hear say he's disappointing this year, but I think he's looking great on film. He's looking great. Don't listen to any talking heads. Stop listening to talking heads, Bobby. I don't watch ESPN, guys. You can ask him. The TV doesn't turn on unless there's a live sporting event or I want to watch Prime or Netflix or Hulu, some shit like that. Or a crime show. Man, I'd rather watch Ancient Aliens than watch any talking head on TV. I've never seen an episode. Not one episode of Undisputed in my life. Not one episode of First Take. Not one episode of any of those arguing debate shows. I haven't watched one. Not one. I haven't seen Chris Berman in 20 years. I haven't seen any of that shit. Oh, but how do you learn about sports? Yeah, you do your own research, your own data, and don't let them drive your narrative. I will never watch those people. They don't even know sports. They just talk. It's embarrassing. When they talk about teams, it's embarrassing. When you know them and you hear somebody talk about them who doesn't know them, it's awkward. It's awkward. They're as bad as movie critics. You ever seen a movie and been like, this shit is banging? What was that critic talking about? That's exactly what ESPN is. All those talking heads, they're critics, bro. They're movie critics. They're food critics. You ever read a food critic review? You've been like, bro, what is this shit he's talking about, bro? Who uses the word succulent? Is he reading YouTube right now or TikTok? Andy Mueller, I only read YouTube. We intentionally let the chat build up, and then I go to it slowly. Take your time and wait. Could you tell us more about the dude replacing Armstrong? I forgot his name, but curious if you know more about him. Rewind the show. I've already talked about MJ Morris many, many times. I love MJ Morris. He's a good player. I don't see Louisville beating Miami. Don't watch then. Don't watch Legal Hustle King. He only reads YouTube, Andy. He's just behind on the chat. Always. Thank you. There you go. You said C.J. Stroud was trash. Stephen Moss. Yes, I did. I didn't say he was trash. I just said he was getting carried by Tank Dell. Huge difference. How do you feel about Duke's bounce-back game? They don't have a game this week. So we only talk about 1 week at a time. What's your outlook on FSU and how they will finish having a play having to play Duke and Miami still. Yeah, guys, I do not try to predict the whole season. I take it 1 week at a time. You don't have a clue if you're going to have your starting quarterback next week. Duke's a prime example. There's no point in trying to assess everything, right? Just slow down. What do you think about the future of Clemson? I think it's bright. They have great players. They got a great recruiting class. They always have good recruiting classes. Clemson's fine. Do you think Tulane could make the New Year's Six again? Tulane is not in Conference USA. They are in the American. I talk about the American on Wednesday. Thank you for the question. How long does Dino Babers continue to have Syracuse be mediocre and not get over the hump before his seat gets really hot? Well, I had him on the hot seat before the season started. They overachieved slightly, but not really. They were just beating teams they were supposed to beat. Tell you what, man, if they lose to Wake Forest or they lose to who do they got? They're going to be in trouble. It'll get hot. Just keep losing. When do you think Georgia falls? Realistically, they're in the SEC, not in the ACC. We should just stop doing preseason polls completely. Exactly. Teams like Florida, LSU, and Georgia are getting more credit than they deserve. Weird. That's a theme with those teams, right? It's not weird. It's by design. That's the SEC for you. I really hope Boleyn plays well. He played very well versus Lafayette. Yeah, I know it was Lafayette. Yeah. You got it, Cody Knox. Do you think Notre Dame will ever join a conference, or is the money that substantial being independent? No, it's not about it being independent. The money is for their TV contract. You guys got to remember, in the 80s, all college football fell under the same TV contract. All of it. Okay? In the 80s. In 86, it was like this independent football league, IFL type shit. I forget the acronym, but everything fell under one college football contract. And the NCAA handled that contract for all college teams, and they had a deal with like ABC, I think it was just ABC and CBS, and then NBC paid for just Notre Dame. So Notre Dame broke away from that and went on their own TV contract. First time ever in the history of a program, and when they did that, they owned their own TV rights. No other TV channels wanted to invest in an individual school, so Notre Dame was the only school. And this is how Notre Dame started winning national championships, because they had more revenue, because they could tell you every game was going to be on TV. Every game was going to be on TV. It was amazing. And then sometime in the late 80s, early 90s, that entity that controlled the TV contracts, they released ownership of TV contracts to each conference. And the minute that happened, the conferences could then go shop out their teams as a group to other TV channels. And that's how you got all these conferences to become more powerful than others. And then they started getting on the same playing field as Notre Dame. Well, over the years, Notre Dame's TV contract was still more lucrative than anything these other guys were getting, even when they split it up, until 2008. In 2008, ESPN paid $2 billion for the SEC and started the SEC network. Then in 2014, they did the ACC network. And once ESPN was paying that amount of money for these TVs and these conferences, that's when you saw the creation of the Big Ten network in 2007. You saw the creation of the Pac-12 network or the Longhorn network. Everybody was trying to do the same thing that ESPN did, and they were trying to find other investors. And the Pac-12 messed up. They went with Versus. And, there was a lot of people that made mistakes and tried to get it right. But at the end of the day, they were all trying to bridge the gap with Notre Dame initially. And now a lot of them have surpassed Notre Dame's income. And now Notre Dame is probably having to think, okay, what can we do? So what happens with that, guys, is if Notre Dame joins a conference, and what that really does is that frees up NBC to then go and invest in an entire conference. So one of the Power 5 conferences can then get a TV contract with just NBC, make that an all-inclusive exclusive deal. And right now, they don't want to do that. They just want to stay with Notre Dame. And they've been doing that for 30 years. But eventually, Notre Dame will probably join the ACC. And I'd say watch NBC buy the whole ACC TV contract all by itself and get it away from ESPN. But whoever's owned by ESPN gets the most pub, gets the most positive play, and then that pushes your revenue, and that's why they have the best recruiting classes, and they try to convince you those are the best teams. And it's happening. It's happening right now. Okay? They're going to try to convince you. Teams will be ranked that don't deserve to be ranked because of what ESPN's influence has on preseason polls and strength of schedule and all this shit. But it's really that's the history behind Notre Dame being so independent as opposed to being in a conference. How do you feel about Braum has been at Louisville? I like Braum, everything he does at Louisville. It's pretty cool. I want him to keep winning. He just needs a more consistent play from his quarterback. But he's a great coach, and he's a great recruiter, and that's a good team. I love Louisville. I love watching him. Shout out to Rico. What up, Rick? Rico Knows Money Bags. Another day, another great show. Keep it rolling. Thank you so much. Can you call the NFL by money line? I'm pretty sure I can, Brian. I just choose not to. It's just I don't need to tarnish my reputation. The money line picks are the big ticket. My fault, not an ACC question. How do you feel about Conrad Hussey Jr.? Just want to know if the name pops to you. Yes, an ACC player. Guess what team? Does not pop to me. I don't recognize the name, so thank you for coming in here to quiz me. Congratulations. Any thoughts on Kermani McClain liking comments in his comment section saying that Prime shouldn't have dogged him in the media? I can provide the comment if needed. He seems uninterested in coaching. Yeah, that's a child, man. That's a child. He needs to grow up. It's you don't go on social media and start liking comments. You know, you just don't do it. It's a childish thing to do. Focus on your craft, on your job. That man recruited you to get there. You need to give him your best effort. If you're wasting time reading social media instead of focusing on your craft and your schoolwork, I don't know where your priorities are. I really don't. Ridiculous. There are people that tag me in videos all day long. All day long I'm tagged in videos. And people are making videos replying to me. And I'll pick and choose a few here and there. I can't do them all. I'll pick and choose a few here and there just to reply to. It's my job. His job is not to do social media. His job is not to go in there and start liking comments. Let it go. Get focused on your job. He should be in his playbook on his iPad. He should be learning the scheme. He's going to learn the hard way, though. He's going to learn the hard way. I don't care how good you are. You got to work harder than everybody. It's one thing to be the best person in your own mind, but you got to be better than a dude across the country. And he's not working that hard. He's just not. We don't need any collabs. We call with the stream for you, Rico. You got it, man. You get any questions and when the bottom of the stream ends. Yeah, you'll get your questions in when the bottom of the stream ends. Exactly. By the way, Vanilla Ice was the pregame alumni center at Texas Tech University game this weekend. Oh, goodness. Shout out to Rob Van Winkle. How do you see the rest of the Syracuse season playing out? Seems like they might have exceeded expectations early, and now they have met their match. Yeah, I try not to predict the whole season there, Bobby Albright. I hope they do well. This week it looks like, they got their hands full, but we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. They ran into Clemson, and they didn't look equivalent to Clemson. First official week as an MVP, how do you suggest the best way to bet off this knowledge? Dev's so cool. I try not to give any recommendations on how to gamble. I'm not a gambler. I just provide information to gamblers, right? So if it's your first week as an MVP, I would recommend you sit down, watch the live streams every day, learn as much you can about the teams, and then bet what you're comfortable betting. I would say nobody loses. It's impossible to lose if you put one unit on every game, whatever your betting increment is. So if you know your bankroll and you know your unit size, divide your bankroll by 100, split it up, and then go after all the games. We're going to always be above 50%. I don't miss like that. So we had a bad week at 58, but if you had bet on every single game, you would have been up. If you think about it, we were 24. Well, let me see what the record was. So even if you break even or whatever, it was 24-17 this last week. This is the worst week we've had. 24-17. So there was 41 different bets to make. If you bet 41 different times, $20 on each one, you would have been up X amount of units. At least seven. So that's $140. You got to do it in small increments, man. If your approach is to bet big, lose big and win big and parlay and all this stuff, get away from me. Don't blame me. You're going to lose all day. So is your MVP package only for college season? Frankie Cruz, it is for college football all season and the bowl games included. And then in the offseason, it'll be UFC fights and then just additional information on transfer portal players. You can choose to support the channel or you can move along. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter to me. Is Florida State a national championship contender? I believe so. They're undefeated. Some weeks they look insane. Other weeks they look inept. This is true. Are the Seminoles someone you'd recommend for a futures bet? I don't recommend any futures bets. More power to you. Do what you do. I don't recommend any futures bets. That's not my forte. So, thank you for the question, Andy. What do you think Quinn Ewers does in the NFL? I don't know what team he's being drafted by. I don't know if he's injured. I don't know why we try to predict how people are going to do in the NFL. We don't know where they're going. He could sit the bench forever. He could get drafted by the Chiefs and never play. How long till Sean Lewis leaves for a head coaching job? When they hire him? I would love to see him at Michigan State. He's probably not a big enough name. Ashton Montgomery. They probably want something else like David Shaw. Probably want some other guys. I already did a whole video on who they should hire and who I think they're going to hire. But they probably want some other names. But Sean Lewis, I think he's a great fit. Let's say they hire Leopold or they hire Elko. Sean Lewis should replace those guys at their old school. Like that, I think Sean Lewis should be next in line for a head coaching job at any of the other schools that lose their head coach to the Michigan State job. Something like that. I only listen to Talking Heads because it gives me something to listen to at work. No debate shows, just college football podcast. Yeah, man. Shout out to you, Bobby. I recommend you just listen to my show. Put on all my old live streams. Go watch all my old videos. Put them on repeat. Figure it out. That's what I recommend. You guys missed so much content this summer. All you have to do is watch it by playlist. You don't have to watch the videos on the homepage. Pick a playlist, hit play. It'll play all of them in order. That's what you should do. All my videos are on a playlist. Are they being told what to say? Oh, on ESPN? Yeah. Yeah, there's producer meetings. They're being told what to say. Does Braun make Louisville ACC contenders at any point? Yeah, right now. Right now. Do you think Kyron Drone's performance this week was a fluke? Not a fluke, just against a terrible team. Not a fluke. It's just a bad team. It's easy to play good against a bad team. Still learning the streaming schedule here. When do you talk about Big 12? Wednesdays, because it's in the middle of the country. It's the hump day. Get some questions about TCU. I'd love to pick your brain about. Yep, Andy Mueller, you'll know. You see the thumbnail before you click in, and the first words, it says Rico Knows Everything, and then I put ACC. You'll know what conference it is that day. Tomorrow's Big 10 and then Big 12. Neither of my questions are in the categories. Just realized that my fault. No problem. I'm looking at Western Kentucky's schedule, and realistically, do you think they have a cakewalk to the conference title as long as they don't sleep? Well, sleep or injuries, right? Sleep or injuries, they got to keep winning. They are a conference favorite. Everybody left, right? Everybody left the conference. They got new teams, and Western Kentucky looks like the conference favorite, so we'll see. Has he went through the games yet? BPEC, I always go through the games first. Pac-12 dropped the ball. I don't know what ball. BPEC, he goes through the games in the first 30 minutes of the show. Rewind the show. Bobby, when does the show usually start? 5 p.m. Eastern, so 2 p.m. Pacific. Thank you for asking. What's your thoughts on FSU and Clemson leaving the ACC? It hasn't happened, RJ Curtis, and I try not to guess when it does. I don't think it's going to happen unless they can buy out the grant of rights. ESPN would have to lift the grant of rights. I don't see that happening. We'll see what happens. In Central Standard Time, it starts 4 p.m. every day. Is Van Dyke a top 3 ACC quarterback to you? Not to me, but NFL scouts will tell you he is. He's on a lot of mock drafts, but I don't think he's top 3 ACC. Right? You got Drake May, Riley Leonard, and then Jordan Travis. Those are my 3. Cade Klubnik's right behind. So Van Dyke's somewhere else, man. Like, I get it. He looks the part. He looks like a quarterback should look. But that's it. Over-under for UVA winning more than 1.5 games in ACC play. I think Tony Elliott has an argument as the worst Power 5 coach. No, I mean, he's bad. But there's a lot of bad Power 5 coaches that we just ignore. But they're not good. Like, Jimbo Fisher's not a good coach. His team's talented, but he's not a good coach. He makes really poor decisions. Right? Tom Allen's really bad at Indiana. Whoever's coaching Northwestern, Brom, he's not good. He's just doing his best as a defensive coordinator. Obviously, Brent Priley's a lot to be desired, but he's winning a little bit. But no, nobody's as bad as Halfley, Boston College. That dude's terrible. You know, there's some bad coaches out there. But Tony Elliott has not done well with Virginia at all. Big 12's Wednesday. Would love to hear what you have to think about Montana State Bobcats. Injured quarterback Tommy Mellett is an animal. FCS, I don't really talk about FCS until off season or when they're playing an FCS opponent. I actually don't watch too much Montana State football unless it's the playoffs or they're playing an FBS opponent. I just have 133 teams to cover. Don't get me wrong. I know Montana State players. I know the team. It's just I don't watch all their games, so I don't like talking about it unless I watch all their games. UFC fight predictions in the offseason. That's awesome, Rico. I didn't even know that. Yeah, I know a lot about the UFC. I am an MMA fighter. I've been a martial arts instructor my entire life. I know a lot about the UFC. So just something we used to live stream them in the off season. We'll get back to it. I live stream every single pay-per-view, sit down and talk about the fights, explain what the fighters are doing. People watch fights with me, and you can learn a lot. And I get them right most of the time who's going to be the winner. I only parlay 3 to 4 picks, but play the individual picks as well. You can't lose. There you go, Legal Hustle King. Where do you rank Keon Coleman among college football wide receivers? He's pretty good. He's pretty good. I don't know where I rank him among all of them, but he's definitely the best wide receiver on Florida State. He's pretty good. Thank you, Steve. David Shaw, low-key whack, in my opinion. Oh, no. You like Dickert from Wazoo way more, even though he hasn't proven enough yet. Yeah, no. David Shaw's great. You're tripping. David Shaw's a great coach. It's hard to win at Stanford, and it's hard to win with those academic standards. David Shaw's a great coach. Rico, I know it's not Big 12, but you say Leopold's name wrong. Leipold. I had a couple friends who played for him at UW Whitewater. Okay. Leopold's his name. I feel you, though. Thank you for the correction, Bobby Albright. I like Leopold as a coach. How much would you say a proactive, really good AD matters in the world of college football? Gene Smith stepping down really worries me. For the Buckeyes, need a very good replacement. You know, I don't get into all that. Athletic directors don't play in the games. I don't give a shit. As long as they're ensuring that there's no rule breaking going on and that they have enough foresight to fire a substandard coach, that's where the AD value comes in for me. I really don't care about the allocation of resources or all that other stuff. ADs is just a glorified position that doesn't really impact the play on the field from my perspective. Now, that could be ignorant to what they're doing, but I don't see it. Just wanted to say, if you're not an MVP, y'all need to lock in with Rico. These MVP picks got me feeling real good each Saturday. Your friends don't know, but Rico knows. Shout out to you, James Bell. I appreciate you, man. Do you think any Notre Dame has any elite receivers? Great House is obviously brand new. Looks elite as a true freshman. Anybody named Rico can really get the smoke. I like 2 of them, but for the most part, Notre Dame had no elite receivers, none. Maybe in 2 or 3 years you can consider them elite, but right now, no. Gotcha, that makes sense. So if Shaw goes somewhere with lower academic standards, he could really produce. Yeah, he's really good. Pretty wild stuff. All that stuff works. Pretty wild how all that stuff works. Some schools just don't care about school at all. Yeah, and then some schools care a lot about school. I've already talked about this. Ivy League schools could win the national championship in football every single year if they wanted to. They have the most endowment. They have the largest endowment of any school in America. They have the largest budget. If they replaced all their facilities with world-class facilities and then recruited and paid NIL for all the best players in America, Ivy League schools would win everything like they used to. Ivy League schools used to win national championships in the 20s, 30s, and 40s. It was all Yale, Harvard, and Princeton. But they just decided they don't want to spend any money on football. They're done. They'd rather spend money on their academics, their grant programs, and, trying to cure cancer and shit. And more power to them. But you guys don't realize, money can change everything. It will take a while, but it would change everything. It's Leipold. I know. It's Leopold. I got you. I love the content. I'm here every day of the week. Thanks, everyone, for being here. Thanks, Rico and Kim. Thank you, guys. Can Mizzou pull off the upset? Mizzou is not an ACC team. Thanks for asking. TJ Parker, the true freshman defensive end for Clemson. He's a beast. He's outshining who I thought was going to do it all, which is Peter Woods. So congratulations to TJ Parker for playing out of his mind. Congratulations to all you guys. I already answered the question about the AD, Ashton Montgomery. Thank you guys for being here. Remember, your friends don't know, but Rico knows. Peace, y'all. Appreciate the support.
For my father, who I've only seen from time to time in my dreams. I do this for. I do this for my mother, who's finally clean, no longer a fan. I do this for you. I do this for my sister, my wife and my kids, cause they part of the team. I do this for all the naysayers and haters who made me one of the greatest. I know it kills you inside, that's why I do this for you. I do this for my father, who I've only seen from time to time in my dreams. I do this for you. I do this for my mother, who's finally clean, no longer a fan. I do this for you. I do this for my sister, my wife and my kids, cause they part of the team. I do this for all the naysayers and haters who made me one of the greatest. I know it kills you inside, that's why I do this for you.
I do this for the kids who sit a bit outside the mix, who maybe cope through humor just to fit in for a bit, who never let the world know when depression's setting in. To all of those who know you, that impression don't exist, and it ain't counterfeit, it's just a way to counter it. I'm living things I dreamed about, I still encounter it. It ain't something that a cigarette or alcohol can fix, but all because of it, I flipped it quick, went on to write some hits. This a success, off another breath. This the first step in searching to be nothing less than be the best in what you do, to prove their strength in being you. Learn so much in chasing dreams that I never would in school. Depends on where your passion lie, just know passion never lie. Life presents distractions, but your actions have to fortify the things that you believe in. Have to scream it like a battle cry, and leave the ones who didn't looking stupid while they're asking why. Couldn't lie, I really do this for the ones I love, those who treat the music as a vice and lyrics like a drug. Those who need advice on how to lift their spirit high enough to break out of the box they make up lives they know aren't good enough. Just because it's how it is don't mean it's how it has to be. This is what the uninspired testifiers fail to see. Jealousy results from being that which others fail to be, and if it means you're not with me, that honestly sounds fair to me.
I do this for my father, who I've only seen from time to time in my dreams. I do this for you. I do this for my mother, who's finally clean, no longer a fan. I do this for you. I do this for my sister, my wife and my kids, cause they part of the team. I do this for all the naysayers and haters who made me one of the greatest. I know it kills you inside, that's why I do this for you.
Do this for my mother, she'll be working for the summer. Do this for my father, cause these days I often wonder what my life would have been like if